Holiday travel turns tragic when flight attendant dies in front of passengers moments before takeoff. We've all seen all of the headlines with the died suddenlies and everything. One of my good friends, I mentioned this the other night, the day before Valentine's Day, I get phone call, and my buddy he got the jab. He was in LA. He was a lawyer, and he had to get it because he worked in federal buildings. And 2 days after he got it, he had his first heart attack. And then 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now, it's been 4 weeks, I get a call from a couple of friends, says Doug's dead. Just like dude was 49 years old.
So basically they stamped his passport?
They stamped his passport.
Yeah. Now listen, cardiovascular disease is fairly common in the United States, and it runs in my family. That's why I am adamant about the 65 and out plan. And I accept it. It is what it is. But if you're like 14 years old and you're playing soccer, there is no reason for you to drop dead. Now, does that happen from time to time? Yes, it did. And it was always related to some kind of birth defect or some
valve, a malformed valve or
Yes.
something. You'd hear about that from time to time, but you didn't hear about people just suddenly keeling over. A flight was about to depart London's Heathrow for Hong Kong when the 52-year-old flight attendant tragically collapsed on the plane, the Sun reported. The plane's doors had already been locked and passengers were sitting in their seats when the unidentified crew member collapsed and started their flight to their weekend with Bernie's.
Wow, that's mean.
I know. I'm sorry. It was right there.
I know. No, it's good. That's good. That's good.
I had to. So this is a 52-year-old stewardess. I hate that flight attendant generic thing. She was a stewardess. Keeled over like that. These people are in reasonably good shape. I know for a fact that these stewardesses, they have to get regular checkups because you're flying dozens and dozens of hours a day sometimes. Well, there aren't dozens of hours in a day, I understand.
Well, plus the pressure changes. The pressure changes in those aircraft can be fatal if you have some blood clotting issues.
Just for airborne, and I never went above 1,200 in anything that we flew. I think they would go up to 2,000 to go somewhere. But I don't know. I was sitting in the back. They didn't tell us all of that shit.
The highest altitude I ever jumped at was like 2,300 feet.
Was it?
Yeah, usually, if you're doing simulated combat, you're around 800-ish.
Right. Yeah.
And then training is 12 to 15.
Right. Between 12 and 15. But you'd have guys who had, if you didn't get your teeth checked, the exploding molar. Did you ever get one of those?
God, yeah, that happened to a dude. He started bleeding. He's looking around. Like, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So these people who fly a lot, because their altitude changes all the time, they have to be checked. And if you're male, that also means you're getting the glove.
Yeah, I've had that done many, many a times.
Going into the TMC and seeing the line of guys by the door to that office and their depressed faces was like one of the scares.
Yeah, just totally correct. No.
What are you doing airborne physical?
No. When I was going through my prostatitis nightmare, I had a lot of those done.
At least you were used to it by then, though.
Yes.
At least you were used to it by then.
I got so good with it. I remember I'm in the doctor's office. And he's like, "Hey, we have some trainees. Can they come in here and do the test?" I'm like, "Yeah, bring them in. Fuck it.
That's why not. I don't
serve champagne. Fuck it. Let's do this.
Get it over with."
I was a good sport about it.
Just make sure it's not cold.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, she's 52, drops dead in front of all these people.
Exactly.
She's probably, gets a full physical at least every other year.
I think it's every 6 months.
I don't know the regs.
Like a basic checkup.
I don't know the regs. I'm just saying, like, maybe every day.
I know a heavy pilot. I can ask him. I know one of the guys who flew this route.
Rumor would know too. We should ask him.
Oh yeah, could do that as well. Anyway, the point of it is these died suddenly incidents became very common after 2021, and they put them in the paper and in the media in such a way to numb you to it. If you go back starting in around September of 21, when this stuff started, you can see articles, and they'll play them for one release,
Uh-huh.
and then it goes away, and then the next one
Uh-huh.
goes away, next one goes away. What they're doing is numbing you to the idea this is normal. It's perfectly normal for 5, 6, 7 professional fucking athletes in their prime
To drop dead.
to just fall over. It's normal.
And there's whole montages you can find on BitChute, Rumble.
Yes.
That's just nothing but 30 to 45 second clips of person after person falling out and dying.
Yes. And if you're a connoisseur of the more obscure places of the internet, you got those fairly early on, and you got the extra reels of what appears to be the first incidents coming out of China, where guys would be like,
Yep.
and their body would turn around and
Yep. They do that turn and they fall down dead.
Turn. Exactly.
And they're looking at something they can't see, and
and then they just go right the hell down. So this whole thing here, the way they phrase it, the plane's doors had already been locked and passengers were sitting in their seats. Okay, they're taking their attention away from you when the unidentified crew member collapsed. The flight attendant, the stewardess, died as they locked the doors to the plane. They want you to be focused on the door being closed and the passengers and all of that. Whereas, sadly, despite the best efforts of our crew, a patient was pronounced dead at the scene. Again, they've dehumanized the flight attendant, the stewardess. She is now a patient.
Yep.
Like a patient is supposed to be on an aircraft. The reason I keep bringing this up is to demonstrate to you how they use these words and phrases to numb you to a healthy 52-year-old woman fell over dead on an airplane.
Mm-hmm. Well, words have power. You know that, right?
Exactly. Words have a tremendous amount of power.
Correct.
Yeah. And wait a minute. This is the second British Airways flight attendant in recent weeks, following the death of another crew member, also aged 52, on December 23rd in the U.S. The employee was reportedly found in his hotel room after he failed to show up for work. Crew are frantic. These are two healthy people.
Yep.
These are two healthy people who suddenly dropped dead. There were no reported underlying health issues.
Really? Really? All right. Now I've covered some supplements that you can take to deal with the irritation caused by the excessive spike proteins within your blood system. Send me an email, redonkulous12@gmail.com. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. And listen, and we've said this over and over again. What we're dealing with is an experiment, and every swinging ball sack and titty sacks walking around out there are literally guinea pigs.
Yeah, you're the test subject.
Yeah. And some of these boosters, that they tested them on, now listen to this, 8 fucking mice.
Yes, that's correct.
You test it on 8 mice and go, hey, we're good to go. Give it to everyone. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the meat caser box.